Something is happening inside Aston Martin's Silverstone headquarters. And it has the rest of the grid on edge. Because for the first time in decades, Adrian Newey has been given a clean slate. No legacy chassis. No outdated engine package. No Red Bull hierarchy to navigate. Just a blank page. A factory built around him. And the most dramatic regulation reset Formula One has seen in over a decade. And what he's building isn't just a car. It's a statement. A prototype of how he thinks Formula One should be solved. What little has leaked already has engineers whispering. Not about the design itself, but about what it seems to ignore. Because if the AMR26 behaves the way some insiders believe it might, then this isn't just Newey's comeback. It's his warning shot. Officially, this is just a launch year. New car. New engine. New regulations. But under the surface, the 2026 Aston Martin project represents something much bigger. Something Formula One hasn't seen in decades. A team built entirely around Adrian Newey. No compromises. No borrowed philosophies. No carryover chassis or inherited design paths. This is a clean sheet project, engineered within a factory custom built for innovation. And guided by the most successful designer in Formula One history. Let's be clear, Adrian Newey hasn't just joined Aston Martin. He's redefined it. And with the 2026 regulation overhaul targeting a 50-50 hybrid power split, aggressive drag reduction, and simplified aero, Newey isn't adapting to the rulebook. He's exploiting its gaps. Inside the AMR Technology Campus, the structure has changed. Honda is building a bespoke power unit. Lawrence Stroll is still pouring capital into wind tunnel development. And the entire design direction now flows from a single mind. That hasn't happened at Aston Martin. That hasn't happened at most teams, period. And it shows. Because this isn't just a 2026 car. It's a car with no precedent. The AMR26 won't be an evolution of last year's concept. There's nothing to evolve from. Newey has thrown out the architecture, the aero philosophy, and likely the suspension logic that defined their previous cars. And the silence from Aston Martin isn't a lack of confidence. It's strategy. Because they already know the rest of the grid is watching. And the longer they hold back details, the longer the rest of Formula One is left guessing not just how this car works, but what kind of machine it even is. What we've seen so far isn't much. A teaser sketch. A fleeting frame from a behind-the-scenes promo. A technical comment buried in an interview. But even from those fragments, something doesn't feel normal. Because this car isn't borrowing the usual playbook. It isn't following the visible trends emerging from Mercedes or Red Bull. In fact, it's ignoring them entirely. Take the nose geometry. It appears unnaturally narrow, with aggressive channeling that sacrifices frontal stability in favor of airflow manipulation. The front wing isn't just complex, it's layered. Structured in a way that suggests turbulence redirection, not simple downforce delivery. And the packaging? It's tight. Too tight. No visible thermal bulging. No rear-end compensation for battery cooling. It's as if the car is designed to stay calm under stress, as if it's regulating heat before it becomes a problem. Which makes sense if you're Adrian Newey. Because he doesn't build cars to survive racing conditions. He builds cars to shape them. And everything about the AMR26, from the suspected airflow strategy to the hidden ductwork, suggests this isn't a machine reacting to problems in real time. It's a machine avoiding them entirely. That's not just clever. It's dangerous. Because it implies one thing. That Newey is designing for control, not speed. For equilibrium, not chaos. And that design principle? It's almost impossible to replicate once it works. Because if the AMR26 can stay consistent while other cars degrade, if it can maintain balance while others are managing energy spikes, then this isn't a car with potential. It's a car that starts winning when conditions get worse. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Because once you understand what Adrian Newey might be doing, you realize the problem isn't the AMR26. The problem is the rulebook. The 2026 regulations were written to control F1's evolution. Standardized active aero. 50% electric power deployment, fixed fuel flow rates, heavy constraints on thermal efficiency and energy recovery. The FIA thought it had locked the grid into a tight new framework, one that would level the playing field and reduce loopholes. But Newey doesn't look for loopholes. He looks for silence. He looks for the spaces between definitions, for the systems that aren't illegal, because no one thought they were possible. And that's exactly what's so unsettling about the AMR26. Because this car might be regulation compliant, while behaving in ways the FIA never imagined. Think predictive cooling algorithms tied to chassis flex. Energy redistribution that doesn't exceed limits, but shifts dynamically before the sensors detect the peak. It's not science fiction. It's system architecture. Newey is building a machine that doesn't push boundaries. It dances around them. And the FIA can't penalize something it doesn't yet understand. They'd have to define it first. That's the twist. Aston Martin may not be hiding anything at all. Because the trick isn't what they're doing. It's what no one else is even looking for. Right now, there are no protests. No formal complaints. No panicked headlines from rival teams demanding clarification. But don't mistake the silence for comfort. It's hesitation. Because what Aston Martin has produced isn't suspicious in the usual sense. There's no obvious trick. No controversial winglet. No DAS-style component that demands immediate attention. The threat is philosophical. Teams don't know what to challenge. Because they don't know what the AMR26 actually is. Inside the paddock, simulations are running. Wind tunnels are recalibrating. Data teams are trying to reconcile Aston Martin's early signals with their own models. And it's not matching up. Drag coefficients that don't make sense. Thermal assumptions that fall apart under load. Stability metrics that exceed expected limits without clear cause. They're not seeing Aston Martin break rules. They're seeing Aston Martin ignore problems the rest of them are still solving. That's what has everyone on edge. Because the worst thing in F1 isn't a fast car. It's a fast car that doesn't make sense. And that's where Newey's presence becomes terrifying. He's not chasing performance the same way the others are. He's not optimizing a concept, he's replacing it. What do you do when a rival team isn't playing the same game? What happens when your simulations, your assumptions, your targets all become irrelevant? The paddock isn't asking, is this legal? They're asking something far worse. Are we already too late? And if they are, the AMR26 won't just be fast. It'll be untouchable. Let's imagine this car doesn't dominate. Let's say it starts the season clean, maybe even conservative. No fireworks, just efficiency. That alone could be devastating. Because in 2026, consistency isn't just a bonus. It's a weapon. Every other team is walking a tightrope. Energy limits. Cooling volatility. Aerodynamic instability under partial deployment conditions. But if Aston Martin has solved that, or bypassed it entirely through system integration, then they don't need to be fastest out of the gate. They just need to be stable. That stability becomes the foundation for exponential growth. While other teams are firefighting, burning development tokens, reacting to failures, Aston Martin will be iterating off a working model. That's when the gap opens. Not from one big upgrade, but from dozens of quiet, surgical refinements the others can't match. Because their baseline is unstable. And the drivers? Alonso doesn't need to adapt to chaos. He thrives in cars that respond predictably, logically, sharply. If this car behaves the way Newey has built his best machines to behave, Alonso won't just manage it. He'll weaponize it. And Lance Stroll? This is his now or never season. Because a car this tailored, this intelligent in concept, will expose driver inconsistency instantly. This machine is binary. You're either in sync with it, or you're in its way. But zoom out past the drivers, past the garage. If Aston Martin establishes a stable concept in the first half of 2026, every other team will be forced to choose. Copy the philosophy, without fully understanding it, or start over mid-season, knowing they're already behind? Neither option is good. And for the FIA? The pressure will mount fast. Because if Aston Martin's car exposes holes in the rules, delivers results without breaking anything on paper, then questions will come. Not about what was done, but about why no one else thought to do it. And that kind of innovation is harder to ban. Because you can't outlaw a mindset. So where does this leave us? A car we haven't fully seen. A system we can't yet define. And a designer who doesn't talk. Because he doesn't have to. Adrian Newey may not say much publicly. But when he sketches a car like the AMR26, he's not just communicating with the engineers. He's sending a message to the entire grid. Because this machine, whatever it is, however it behaves, is built on a foundation no one else has touched. And that's the real warning. If it fails, the story ends quickly. The paddock breathes a little easier. But if it works? If the car holds its balance under high voltage load, if the aero package stays efficient beyond the drag thresholds, if the systems integrate the way insiders suspect they might, then this won't be a title run. It'll be a blueprint. A new architectural baseline. One that will force other teams to question the very structure of their operations. Because you can't unsee something that works. And if Newey's vision takes hold, the next 5 years of Formula One might belong to a team that, until now, was still learning how to win. Aston Martin won't need to dominate 2026. They just need to survive it with their concept intact. Because once the season starts, the rest of the field will be reacting, not competing. And the longer they react, the more this car becomes something else entirely. Not just fast, not just smart, but foundational. So watch closely, because this isn't just the start of Aston Martin's next chapter. It could be the start of Adrian Newey's final revolution, and the grid may never recover from it.